Hi there. We're at our range today, so please bear with the gunfire you may hear in the background, but if I timed this video correctly, it would be uploaded on October 29, 2024. And with that, Halloween will soon approach. People would like to get into the Halloween spirit and decorate their house with zombies and ghouls and ghosts and jack-o'-lanterns. And speaking of jack-o'-lanterns, I'll be doing a video on how to carve jack-o'-lanterns. And in doing so, I'll be using dry humor. Not gallows humor, not dark humor, not black humor. Now, while I do find that to be quite enjoyable, for this particular episode, I'd find it to be quite in bad taste. Now, carving jack-o'-lanterns, if you ask. How to do that? Well, traditionally people would use knives or little carving sets, but for this particular episode, let's go and experiment and use alternative means to go and carve a jack-o'-lantern. So, let's get on with it. And in doing so, please forgive me for my Shatner-esque pauses, me stumbling and stuttering over words, me having a speech impediment, and having some sort of fumbling around my words and vocabulary, but let's get on with it. Now, for decorated jack-o'-lanterns, you can find pre-painted ones over at your local supermarket. And to be honest and frank, I think they're quite lame. You can also alternatively get a pumpkin and then paint over it and do a little thing by yourself. And while that kind of would look nice and kind of look cool, I still wouldn't think it'd be as nice as having a carved jack-o'-lantern. And there are several drawbacks to having a painted pumpkin. One is, as I aforementioned before, not looking quite nice. And while you can have really nice painted jack-o'-lanterns, those are the exception and not the rule. Another thing is that you can't go and put any sort of candle or other light source inside of a jack-o'-lantern that is painted over. And at night, unless it's under a well-lit area, under artificial light, your nicely painted jack-o'-lantern cannot be seen by any sort of trick-or-treaters. And with that, your efforts would be in vain. So I do prefer to have them be carved into it. Sure, it requires a bit more work, and you can use a knife, but sometimes that is not delicate enough. They do sell carving sets, but I find it to be quite low quality and not very useful and a bit of a waste of money. So let's try and carve some jack-o'-lanterns using alternative ballistic means. This is an earplug case. Our earplugs before each shot I take. And this is a box of Blazer brass, 9x19mm, full metal jacket, 115 grain round dose ammunition. And I'll be firing it and carve out this pumpkin with a Shadow Systems MR920 handgun. This fits in Glock holsters, takes Glock magazines, however I do prefer these pistols over the Glocks. You can have an under dust cover rail, which can mount a flashlight, which Glocks can also do. However, besides that, it has a much nicer grip with a rougher grip texture that I do enjoy, with a nicer grip angle that I prefer. And even better, a direct mount surface for a electronic reflex red dot sight for pistols. And with that, I can also aim down the sights through the reflex sight if the reflex sight has a malfunctioning battery, or it dies, or the dot is set a bit too dim. So let's go try it out and carve out a jack-o'-lantern. That was fun. Let's go and take a look. You can see I tried carving out a little smile, 2 eyes, and 4 little marks, but with that last one getting away, yes, that's a flyer. Yes, that's me. That's also annoying and try to get away from me, but it went from a happy pumpkin, or not so happy pumpkin, to an even sadder and dead pumpkin. So let's take a look at our exit wounds. Slightly larger exit wounds than entry wounds, but it kind of doesn't really look like anything. I don't know what it is, but you be the judge on what you think it is. At a different pistol, here we have a Bera 92FS chambered in 9x19mm. This pistol is a commercial version of the M9 pistol that was adopted by the United States military, superseded by the SIG M17 or M18 9x19mm pistols. That pistol is based off of the SIG P320 pistol. Let's see how it goes and performs against our pumpkin over here. And we have it loaded with the same ammunition, Blazer brass, 115 grain, full metal jacket, round nose ammunition. And this pistol has a slightly longer barrel than our MR920 pistol, where you have a 4.5 inch barrel compared to a 4-inch barrel. Now, will an extra half-inch barrel make a difference? Let's find out. And for demonstration purposes only, now, would an extra half-inch barrel make a difference? You be the judge. Let's go and take a look at different options to carve jack-o'-lanterns. So, here we have a Winchester 1897 12-gauge trench shotgun. Now, what makes it a trench shotgun? Well, compared to original hunting configuration shotguns that have a longer barrel, this has a shortened barrel for 20 inches, a cylinder bore, as well as a integrated heat shield and bayonet mount. Now, the bayonet that was intended to mount on the shotgun is the Springfield 1917 bayonet. However, we do have a bayonet for a Japanese Arisaka Type 38 rifle, and if we do mount this on our bayonet lug, it can, get Bera with me for a second. It can securely mount there. And now you have a pretty nice pumpkin carver. Now, what also sets the 1897 apart from other shotguns is that we have an external hammer and no manual safety. Now, unlike modern shotguns, for example, the Remington 870, the Mossberg 500, the Bera 1301, this does not feature a crossbolt safety, and it has an external hammer. Now, what is the drawback about this external hammer? Well, let's go load one shell into this and see it for ourselves. So we have ourselves buckshot, law enforcement, Nobel Sport Italia, number 4 buckshot. Let's go put one cartridge inside of our chamber. So our hammer is fully into rear position, and to render it safe, I have to put it in half cock. Now, in doing so, it may cause some issues and problems. You can see why. So, if my thumb slips, where'd my bayonet go? And whoops, our jack-o'-lantern has carved a pretty big hole in it. Let's go take a look. Bayonet looks pretty good. I forgot to seat it all the way to the rear. Here we have our entry hole. A pretty big cluster, larger than a 12-gauge bore. Now if we look at the other side, yeah, that's a pretty big hole, all right. Now keep in mind that pumpkins are hollow. They have seeds, they have pulp inside, but they're not completely full, unlike soda jugs or watermelons. Now, I'm going to go demonstrate a neat feature of the shotgun. It's called slam firing. Now, what is slam firing? Well, slam firing in most circumstances is a very bad thing. It is a safety deficiency in which when the bolt goes forward, the firing pin would automatically go and detonate the primer, and creating a negligent or accidental discharge. This is often featured in firearms that have poor problems, poor working order, soft primers, stuck firing pins, deficiencies and defects with the sear, hammer, and disconnector surfaces. But with the 1897, if the trigger is held to the rear and the pump keeps being actuated, once the bolt goes forward and is into battery, another cartridge would be expended until the trigger is let go or the shotgun is out of ammunition. So I'll go demonstrate that. Now we have a few malfunctions over here, but as you can see, our jack-o'-lantern is completely eviscerated. Okay, so I'm wearing my load bearing equipment over here, and here we have an A1 pattern rifle over here, chambered in 5.56 millimeter. Now, this does have a bayonet that is intended to be used with this firearm, the M7 bayonet, which can fit perfectly fine on this A1 pattern rifle over here with a rifle-length gas system. Now, some deficiency is that while I can use a bayonet to thrust, I don't want to get too close to these multiple zombie jack-o'-lanterns, and that is definitely a problem. And with multiple adversaries, we should use our semi-automatic rifle with a full 30-round magazine, downloaded to 28 rounds. Now, for this, I feel a lot more prepared and a lot more comfortable to not get spooked. I will shoot as fast as I can against these threats. Now you see I've fumbled with my magazine. If you take these magazines and load them to a full 30 like how I did, there won't be enough clearance between the top of the magazine and the bolt, and the rounds will get binded up and the magazine won't fully seat. But let's go and shoot as fast as I can against these targets. Now, we're shooting against soda jugs and jack-o'-lanterns. They've teamed up, and that is a pretty terrible combination to go against. Now, some of these jack-o'-lanterns are filled with water. Let's see which one has it and which one does not. Now that is a close call, but I think we're able to defeat the jack-o'-lantern and water jug menace. So how did we do? Well, with our A1 pattern rifle, with bayonet affixed, with multiple adversaries, this is quite effective even with basic ammunition, which in this case was loaded with ammo 93, full metal jacket, 55 grain boat tail ammunition. So our pumpkin that does not have water in it, 223 caliber holes on the inside, and it tumbled and deformed, and yeah, I think that's pretty effective. Now, our jack-o'-lantern that was filled with water, even more effective. And we have our hydrostatic, or some people call it hydraulic shock. The entire rear end is completely eviscerated. Entrails and seeds everywhere. And our water jugs, completely toast, even with ball ammunition. So, with dealing against jack-o'-lantern and water jug threat that are zombified, well, I'll bet my life on my 5.56 caliber full-length rifle with a bayonet affixed. So, what can we learn from our results? Well, we can establish that handguns can put holes through jack-o'-lanterns. Shotguns can blast holes right through them. However, do confirm your own function of your own firearm and ammunition before doing some very serious jack-o'-lantern carving or to defend yourself. But my favorite, even with basic ball ammunition, semi-automatic, full-powered, or intermediate caliber firearms with bayonet lug. And these are incredibly effective against dealing with multiple jack-o'-lanterns or threats or adversaries. And I like this a lot. Now, what would be your own preferred method of carving a jack-o'-lantern? Well, you be the judge of that. And as always, don't try this at home. I'm what you call a professional, and thank you for watching the 2024 Part 1 Halloween Special, Carving Jack-o'-lanterns using alternative means. Thanks for watching. But yeah, I'm trying to lighten up the mood here. With Paul's passing, frankly, the current state of GunTube is, or what you call GunTube, is, I say, not in a good spot. a lot of the major channels out now is just produce just uninformative slop. And oftentimes the thumbnail will be like, this, or this, or this. It's an insult to my intelligence, it's an insult to your own intelligence. Now, from what are our results, what can we learn from this? Well, we can establish that handguns can put holes through jack-o'-lanterns. Shotguns can blast holes straight through them, but be confirming. Now, what can we learn from this? Well, we can establish that jack-o'-lanterns can have... Well, what can we learn from this? Well, we can establish through our own results and testing that handguns can put holes through jack-o'-lanterns. Shotguns can blast holes through them and even blow them up, but confirm your own function of your own firearm and ammunition before serious jack-o'-lantern covering or to defend your own life. We have problems with our sling, problems with our buttstock, problems with our bayonet, and problems with our shotgun overall. This is also a problem with our Italian ammunition that is slightly longer than American ammunition. But my favorite jack-o'-lantern carving tool would be a full-size semi-automatic or intermediate caliber rifle with a bayonet mount. And this can be effective against multiple threats such as water jugs and zombified jack-o'-lanterns. And for up close, as a last resort, the bayonet can still be useful. But this is great, easy to use, easy to load, and easy to reload. Now, what is your preferred method of cutting jack-o'-lanterns? Well, I can't tell. You be the judge. Now, as always, don't try this at home. I'm what you call a professional, and thank you for watching the Halloween 2024 How to Carve a Jack-o'-lantern Using Alternative Means episode. Thanks for watching. On a more somber and serious note, with Paul's passing, he has left a pretty big gap, both in our hearts and what you call gun tube. A lot of the quality out there is, frankly, not that good, not really informative, and a lot of it that is pushed out there is to just shelling out garbage to rob you of your valuable time and money. Oftentimes with thumbnails that are like, this, or whoa, often looking like the same pumpkins that I painted. We could do better. And yeah, like, it's normal and understandable to feel sad about Paul's passing, but be glad that we have someone to look up to like him, and we can strive to all be better. As for Halloween itself, this video would either be released today on the 25th or on the 30th, depending on how I feel on my availability of time and the upload schedule. And yeah, for Halloween itself, I'll give you a safety brief that my squad leader has taught me. Don't add to the population, don't subtract from the population, stay away from hospitals, newspapers, and jail. If you do end up in jail, establish dominance and contact with a lawyer. And don't drink and drive. If you do drink, handle yourself responsibly, and to go home, have a sober friend or call an Uber or ride share. A taxi, even in a very expensive taxi, is a lot more cheaper than dealing with a DUI and ending up with a felony and ended up in jail and potentially killing an innocent person because of your own actions. Stay safe, stay responsible, and enjoy your Halloween. Oh, and Roy, if you do happen to watch this video and come across it, keep up the great work. I know you have big shoes to fill to handle like this sort of content, this format, but keep up the great work. And for everyone else out there viewing this, if you do enjoy it, like, comment down below on what you think, read the video description, and look up to the top right of the screen for recommended videos. Thanks for watching. I know it's cringe to just say this stuff at the end of the video, but the algorithm is hostile towards channels like this. Thank you for your support and patronage. Thanks for watching.